it's the next day morning and we're up and at it, and we're going to get a taxi to Nalanda, which is about 18 kilometers from here. So you can either get a taxi or you can get a electric scooter. So we opted for a taxi. So Nalanda doesn't open until 9 and it's about 8:30 here. So it's going to take about half an hour, let's say, to get there. And it's a place that Guy and I've always wanted to go to. And so it's very important for us to go there and experience what the oldest residential university in the world is like. So we are at Nalanda University, the oldest residential university in the world. Some say the oldest university in the world. So long before Oxford was, Nalanda was already here. How long ago, love? Long time ago, huh?
459.
459 CE, yeah. Before, what was it, like 800 years later, it was destroyed by invaders. I don't quite understand that mindset, but so a lot of ancient texts, thousands of ancient scripts were lost here, much like what happened in Alexandria in Egypt. And it's really good to be here because when I think about Nalanda, I think of the 17 great Nalanda masters. You know, you can go all the way from Nagarjuna to Chandrakirti to Shantideva, a bunch of unbelievable masters. They're particularly important to the Mahayana Buddhist tradition. Nalanda is, you know, very significant for that tradition, particularly the Yogacara and Madhyamaka schools. This is a massive site. There's a lot to see, so we're going to get around and have a look, and we'll show you guys a little bit of Nalanda as well. You see, like, even back then, like, this is only 1917, 18. Some of the excavation beginning, and it's all covered. It's just crazy. As you can see here, over 1,000 years, dirt has just covered this part of Nalanda. You see a lot of that. And I can tell you, when you're here, Bihar is one of the dustiest states you'll ever go to, so you can understand why they were covered. Some of you may not know the actual significance of Nalanda, but back in the day it was highly significant all around the world. You had travelers all the way from Korea, Japan and China would come to Nalanda to study with the great masters. And you're probably familiar with Xuanzang, one of the famous Chinese Buddhist monks who came and spent a lot of time in India, particularly here in Nalanda, and translated a lot of the great texts and took them back to China. So just the significance of Nalanda is amazing, and there's a real energy when you're here. And imagine if it didn't get invaded, like what would have happened to this place, like the boom of knowledge and wisdom that was already here anyway, but if we had have let that continue to prosper and grow. So it was a real place of learning. It wasn't just Buddhism, there was also medicine, theology, architecture, the arts. All of this was here. And even inside Nalanda, you've even got depictions of also Vishnu and Shiva and Parvati. Like, though it is Mahayana centered, there was a lot of respect for the older Hindu tradition in the area as well. So just imagine, like, if it was allowed to just grow and prosper instead of being destroyed by the invaders. You see all through Bihar this ancient brickwork where there's minimal grout, and actually you see this replicated in places like Thailand, where you'll go to Thailand and you'll see a lot of pagodas that have this minimal grout, same sort of styled brick. This has been filled in recently, but this is all OG, this is original right here, right back into the day. So it took a lot of work, that's for sure. If you look and you see the amount of brickwork in Nalanda and actually surrounding areas, it's unbelievable. So these cells, like, were they where people meditating? What was going on here? Look?
Oh, well, some cells they say there is no entrance.
Yep.
So they just suspecting they may be used as a storeroom for grains and food and whatnot. So they maybe had an access from the roof. That's what they're suspecting. And yeah, it seems like we don't know how high this building would have been. So yeah, we're just speculating what it would have been like, I guess. And there are some cells, there are entries, but also there's some cells that there is no entries, just a room. Yeah.
So they weren't like meditation chambers, they were more for probably food storage, possibly.
Yeah. Maybe that's more likely suspicion.
Yeah. And so we'd have to only speculate that the living quarters for people was probably higher up, possibly.
Yeah, or some other buildings. It's a huge, I mean...
It's massive, yeah.
It says originally this site was as far as 10 kilometers wide. So
and they've excavated not much.
Yeah, well, a lot of them obviously destroyed, unfortunately. So.
And this is monastery number 5. So, as Guy was saying, there's some there with the doors open. You see even down there's one. But then you have these cells, which are kind of blocked. There is an interesting sort of feature there. Maybe a stairway or something? Who knows? But we're all only speculating. And there's some stairs going up there. Possibly to a meditation hall, we don't really know. So. But as we were saying, if you look along here, I mean, look at the brickwork here. Like, it's just insane. Look at that. This is such a unique thing in Bihar. Even the guest house we are staying in, it's got this old style. And everyone chooses to build in this old style, so they're keeping that sort of tradition alive, which is wonderful. Look at this brickwork, guys. This is unbelievable. It's like when I was landscaping, when I was a young grasshopper, we would have to find all sorts of like slate. This is quite something. Like, I'm not sure why they did this here, because in other parts there's perfect square brickwork, but I'm not really sure what this part is. But have a look at this. This is unbelievable. Breathtaking when you're here. I didn't even think that would still exist when I saw pictures of that, because some of it was half hanging on, but they've done such a great work to restore it. I guess there was once a Buddha there. Not anymore. And you can see actually evidence of fire. There said that Nalanda was destroyed by fire. And I'll show you a bit more of this. You'll see a lot more of this as we go through it. As you see, another empty Buddha shrine. Fire stain, yeah. What goes on in the mind of a tyrant? Who knows? The most insecure people in the world can't allow people to think different to them. Something for a lot of people to think about these days, who are trying to force people to think as they want to think. Which is a problem with young people with social media. Yeah, you see some fire damage in here. What was in these cells like, you know?
Oh, I think these cells were monks' residential cells.
Yeah.
I assume that's what it was saying on the board. That there are some beds and bookshelves. You can see obviously they moved to the museum, I think. Yeah, this house was for residential purpose.
This definitely looks like a place where a monk would stay, isn't it? I mean, it's devoid of everything now, but you really see the fire damage in this small room. Going up here. They filled in also the Buddha shrine here. Not sure how long ago that was filled in or why that was filled. Well, I know why it was filled in if it was done by the invaders, but if it wasn't done by them, I'm quite sure. But yeah, the fire damage here is, and again, this one's been filled in too. It's different to the other cells. There's one monk still here doing side. Oh, spider right there. So they filled this part in with new bricks. Maybe because it was not stable. But you see up there, look at that, charred, absolutely charred. And here's some even older brickwork. But like I said here before, some of the brickwork here is a bit scattered. I'm not sure why, if that was a later developing part of the monastery. I'm not sure. But, or is it just a patch-up job? This type of brickwork and similar structure is what we saw out at Vulture's Peak. It's quite interesting. There was a time though, so, and I dare say that Vulture's Peak was a lot older than Nalanda. People have been going there for longer, let's say. Oh, it's just amazing. You're still allowed just to walk around in here. I mean, they won't let you go up the stairs because it's a UNESCO site. So you can understand that. You want to preserve it as much as possible. Man, if you get a pristine clear day like I've got today, wow, it's quite something to see. And if you've got some cojones, you can go up there, risk getting in trouble. Could you just imagine what this part here would have looked like in its heyday? Like, what was happening? What was there? Iconography around? Was there frescoes on the wall? No. What did it actually look like? Look at here. Wow. This is similar to Wat Umong in Chiang Mai. It's just a bigger version, the way that they've done this. If you guys remember the vlog from Wat Umong, same brickwork. It's insane. What would have this been? Some sort of meditation chamber? Even the brickwork on the floor, if you see this, they've gone with the long, they've put them vertically in instead of flat. I don't know why, because it takes a lot longer to make the floor, but maybe it's stronger for sure. But this is probably what they're alluding to, that there was actually some of the parts in this monastery, this one, Monastery 1, is that they were talking about that there's some parts here that you can actually notice that there was actually an older monastery before even Nalanda was built, possibly. So that's something to wrap your head around. We are in the second chamber, just like the one I just saw, like Wat Umong, and as you see here, the bricks are kind of, they're all going on sort of an angle. So then when you get further in, they had to carve a bit smaller. Just like tilers in the modern day, really. The problems we have. But same thing, same with the floor. Even here you start to get an idea of the age of the bricks. It's just... once upon a time there was some guy chiseling away at this. Hard to wrap your head around that. That's about 2,000 years ago. I'm really fascinated by the brickwork. You got that brickwork there, and then next minute you've kind of got this scattered brickwork. And again, for sure, it's been damaged and sheared off. But it's quite interesting as you see, like it's a bit scattered as opposed to brickwork below, which is a bit more symmetrical. What'd you say, love?
It's old. You don't see anywhere the granite stone other than this.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking could be a base for a big pole. So like was a big pole around and then holding the roof.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, maybe the pole was maybe made of wood or something, so it's burnt down or something.
Well, I don't know if it's made by wood, because look over here, look. This is, remember, like in Mahabalipuram?
Yeah.
And also in the south, this is the same pylons. So they definitely would have been, that's kind of been concreted in for some reason. But these bases are definitely the base for that, because that's granite too, right? So this was kind of like maybe you think a shrine, maybe?
It could be, a shrine, or like a principal or the great master sit here and give teaching or something.
I think so, because I think you were saying before off camera, it's like this area is like an assembly area. And so this would have been like, if any of you guys know the Buddhist tradition, usually there'll be a platform where the main abbots or monks of the monastery have a platform to, to conduct meditation, to conduct sort of satsang. This really feels like it was for that. So this is another monk quarters, and we found this one. This is interesting. We haven't seen this, and we're assuming some sort of storage for books. People talk about bookshelves and that. But it's a pretty deep closet, if you call it a closet, or if you look right down in here, and you could basically sleep in here. There's a bunch of bricks kind of fallen. Who knows what was happening, but I'm guessing it was, I don't know, storage for books or clothing, or just so many mysteries here. It's really awesome to be here, like, and just kind of speculate, and we're all speculating. Even the guides here are kind of speculating. We're outside the monastery number 1, and there's a stairway going up. You can't get in here anymore. I don't know. You used to be able to. Look, there's a sign right there.
Yeah. So that's why they named this site number 1A, number 1B, something like this.
Yeah.
So you used to be able to access closer inside, but
probably to keep troublemakers like us out, I guess. Temple number 3 is definitely the most breathtaking so far of Nalanda. You see a couple of stupas there. I mean, it was full of columns, full of stupas, and apparently there was a massive sort of statue or image of the Buddha here on top. And well, it's destroyed now, but it's definitely the most impressive so far. And you know, if it wasn't a UNESCO site, you could still climb up, like, which Guy and I have done in places like Bagan and Myanmar and that, which I think now are UNESCO sites, so we won't be doing that again. But it's important to preserve these places, and you know, just it shows us that, you know, their dedication to spiritual knowledge back in the day, where now we're just more dedicated to our own individual reality, our own bank account, how we contribute to society, and we don't even think about higher knowledge. So there's something for us to think about. Something, you know, there needs to be a type of renaissance, I think, like what happened here at Nalanda. There needs to be a renaissance of knowledge, a focus on knowledge, and instead of, you know, what we do in the modern day with social media and that, where we focus on division and hate and banding together in little petty groups. This is some of the more destroyed parts where you basically just got the foundation left. It's called a votive stupa, but I can see where there probably was a stupa or a couple of stupas. But it's completely trashed. Well, not trashed, it's completely ruined at the moment. Well, it's going to remain like this forever, so who knows what it would have looked like back in the day with the green grass around and blue skies. Stupa farm.
Yeah, looks like it. Yes, obviously top's all been destroyed.
Yeah.
But you can tell how it would have looked like when it was all intact.
It's really similar to like you only go to Nepal or Thailand and you know you have like all of those stupas, you know, at modern temples and that.
Yes, yes.
Like a massive farm.
You can easily see that in those countries you mentioned, but it would have been something if it was really intact. It's like it is almost like 1,800 years old.
Yeah.
That would have been something.
So we were told by an older gentleman here, security guard actually, that this is green Tara, and it is green Tara, but that this is 2,600 years old, so before Nalanda. Now, if you do your math, that probably puts this before the time of the Buddha. I don't know if that's possible, but it must be from around, possibly just after. If it's a green Tara temple, then it's a Mahayana temple. 2,600 years, I'm not so sure if that's quite possible, but so also as you see here, you see like a column just sitting here. I don't even know why this hasn't been excavated. It's probably too heavy. You see a bunch of broken bits everywhere of a possibly pre-existing temple to Nalanda, as that gentleman was saying. I'm not sure. Is it? Do you think that that's green Tara? It looks like green Tara. He said it is green Tara. I mean, but when you look at that, who does that remind you of? Leave your comments. But there's just no way that this could be 2,600 years old. I mean, I don't know why he said that, but that puts that before the Buddha. And concepts such as green Tara come from the Mahayana tradition, which, if it is green Tara, would suggest to me that it was built during Nalanda, so the Nalanda period. How are you?
Germany.
No, Australia.
Australia.
Yeah, thank you. So as I said, he puts it before the Buddha, so it can't be before then. But if it is the green Tara, then it must have been built just before or during the Nalanda period.
Yeah, I believe so. Even if it was, if it did exist before Nalanda University was built, it can't be too much longer than 2,000 years old, 2,000 years ago.
Yeah. So even just a couple of hundred years before Nalanda could be acceptable.
Yeah.
But if you're talking like 800 years before, then you're getting crazy. The work continues. More excavation, more cleaning. It won't stop, I don't think, for a long time. We're in monastery number 4. As you see, there's quite a bit of damage in here. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be in here. There's fire damage there. I think this was put here just for stability. You don't want to be walking in and getting crushed under that. And then there's a little walkway through here. And then you come out here, which I would have thought would have probably had a puja shrine of the Buddha here. You know, considering the little narrow walkway here. There's just so much things that's untapped about this place. As I said, here's the roof. Definitely built modern times. I don't actually know how they did that, but I can understand why. Yeah, this monastery number 4 is a bit dilapidated. It's got really hit hard, and for some reason it hasn't been sort of taken care of like the first 3 we've been to. Not sure what that's about. Again, I mean, they don't have to be cleaned up. It adds its charm. It's just out of sync with the ones we've already seen. Standard monastery room. Big bit of space. Place for the shrine for the Buddha. As you guys have probably seen throughout the monastery, it's this sort of thing each doorway, which would be for a candle. As you know, there's no electricity back then, so finding your way around, candles are necessary. That's another one. Basic room. What do you guys think? Do you like the lodging? Would you stay here? Back in the day, I bet you it was top-notch accommodation, to be honest. There's another room. Little secret passageway. Jesus, a lot of mozzies. Oh my god, look here. Wow. This is something. There's a bit of fire damage there. It's dark and it's a bit manky in here. I need my torch. Alright, torch on. Alright, let's see what's... Okay. Would have been a place probably for a shrine. I always think when I'm in that situation, I turn a torch on these dark things, dark rooms, it's going to be like a Blair Witch situation, but thank God it's not. So here you get an idea in Monastery 6 of the pillars that would have stood covering this area, which is believed to have been some sort of communal eatery or where they cooked. And as you see around here, we still have the cells for the monks and possibly food and whatnot. So we have a possible shrine here, and this was possibly a little bit of a bath around here. And as we were saying, it's a communal area with like basically the dormitories all the way around, and you know, you've got places for grain and other types of vegetables and food and stuff of that nature. And as again, you see that where the column would have been. Let's go over here. And this is the well. Wow, that's down a fair way. People are throwing coins down there. That's unbelievable. This would have been the best damn restaurant you ever seen around here. These things here, there's 2 of them. That one and that one, they're ovens. So this is an oven. If you guys know how this works, leave a comment. I am none the wiser when it comes to that. And there's another one over there, and over here some sort of fire pit possibly, or it's the Buddha maybe was there, or it was just a eating place for the monks. That's quite possible. And here's the other oven. Again, no idea. And what they were cooking back then, I don't really know. long time ago. You just have to eat what you got to eat. Back in the day, there was no real privilege to be picky like we are in the modern day. In the 7th monastery, you're seeing some renovation, preservation going on, trying to preserve the monastery as much as possible. As you see, it's taken a beating over the years, so this is not to build on new, it's basically to just keep it intact how it really is, so easier for people to walk around without getting a brick laying on their head. So this is monastery number 9, and you're seeing a bit of a theme here with the columns, the eating area, the well, the ovens, and you know, the amount of cells around. Pretty common theme. And the rooms are basically pretty much what you get when you want to stay at Nalanda. And a guy made a good point before that these weren't obviously for one monk per room. Part of Indian culture is people all sleep together, and so it's very common in India still to this day. Like someone might rent accommodation out, but when an Indian rents accommodation out, what they mean is they're bringing the whole family to stay. So one person books, 10 people stay. It's common. Now you're starting to get here the real evidence of fire destruction of Nalanda. Look at that. It's just that's intense. It's melted. And you gotta remember that they haven't unearthed all of Nalanda, and there were thousands and thousands of monks here. Some people say there was up to 10,000 people studying at Nalanda at any one time, so you could imagine that they didn't have 10,000 rooms, I wouldn't assume, in all of Nalanda. But look, they haven't unearthed all of it. I mean, they're saying it goes on for a long way, and what we're seeing here today we can walk around in half a day. So let's say if it was a 10-kilometer long monastery, we would have seen nothing, and so possibly there was a lot of rooms, who knows. This is like Vivekananda's frog in the well story. You're way down there. The frog thinks it's living in the world, thinks the well's the world. This is monastery number 11. As you see, some of the pillars are still here, still in place. That is insane. Look at that. And see these pillars here? Like, if you guys have been around, or if you've seen some of my videos with like even southern Indian architecture, this kind of pillar design is very unique to India. And like with the shaved off edge like this, beveled edge, you see it in Mahabalipuram, Tiruvannamalai, Kanchipuram, all in the south, and you're seeing it here in Bihar as well. But I must say, this monastery number 11 it's a bit flattened. You can see the rooms, the cells, but they've been kind of completely leveled. This is temple 13. It's a little different than the other ones. Raised platform, and let's see what's inside. Wow, you can kind of make out the posture of the Buddha there. The two knees.
It must have been huge.
Must have been massive. Just didn't make it.
Survived from the invasion.
No, like a lot of things around here.
Yes.
This one here, they're still excavating, so it's not part of the site yet. So it's yet to be revealed, but as you can see, it's a big structure like what we're on at the moment. Very similar to Temple 13 and the other temples. It has a bigger structure with the platform for the Buddha. But they're doing a lot of work over there. They're chiseling a lot of around the bricks and that. So I don't know, it looks like it's been there for ages, but they just haven't revealed it to the public. Well, we said we couldn't go here, and a little bit of ingenuity, and we're here. There's no sign about what this temple is because it's still being excavated, but we'll have a little look around and see what we can find. So this is temple number 14, the one that is being worked on. But we are here, so let's have a look, see if we can find Buddha inside. Wow, didn't quite make it. Here are some villages in Bihar. Bihar is about the 6th poorest state in India. We thought it was the 1st poorest state because you do see a lot of poverty in Bihar. And it's not to pity them, I mean, they live a good life. I mean, they just live in clay huts like this and live on the farm, and they're really happy people, actually, happier than the people where I'm from. So around number 14, the one that's yet to be excavated, or they've just stopped and haven't bothered about it, as you see, like, there's all these pillars in the ground. I mean, they're everywhere. And it's just like, we're not excavating this one. Not sure why, what's going on, what red tape they've come across, or they've just have not got the government funding to do it. You were just saying something really important. What was it, Guy?
Because it seems like they don't do much of excavation work here anymore. But a lot of people seem to be interested in going and see Taj Mahal, whereas Taj Mahal is invaders' architecture, which is again from Mughal Empire. They are the people who destroyed this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it comes from the top. I think Indian government should promote these sort of sites and more ancient Dravidian architecture over Taj Mahal. When people see Incredible India, the poster for tourism, first thing that you see is Taj Mahal, but Taj Mahal is not their own architecture. So
that's right.
It's it's sad. And when people, like us, we come here and we actually see how they stop doing the work, you put in perspective that like the money should come in this sort of place to find out more what's hidden under the ground, rather than just busy promoting Taj Mahal, like the architecture like Taj Mahal.
Exactly. You guys just got a Guy Young truth bomb right there. I mean, I get those every day, don't worry about that. But like a guy was saying, imagine the Incredible India advertising if you had Nalanda, Arunachala, you had Pushkar, you had all of these great places in India that are traditional to India, not external culture. But you know what I love about India is they celebrate all the cultures, even the ones that did invade, even with the British, right? But this is what really should be promoted, like what Guy was saying. This is actually what's important. It's not what someone else brought here. If you want to really know about India, you need to know about the dharmic traditions from India itself. Well, that's it, guys. That's Rajgir, Nalanda, done. So we're going to relax for the rest of the day. It is an absolute scorcher. Lost about 10 kilograms. We're going to go and have a feed bag in Rajgir, and we'll see you guys from our next destination.